Welcome to the House of Hoosier podcast. I'm your host, AJ Guyton. I got a very special, monumental, legendary guest with me, man. 1977 Indiana Mr. Basketball, 1970 McDonald's, 77 McDonald's All-American, NIT champion in 79, gold medalist in 79, 80 Big Ten champion, 81 Big Ten champion, 81 national champion, MVP and Big Ten Player of the Year, 81 NCAA champion, the 20th all-time leading scorer for Indiana, 6th all-time leading rebounder. Man, you deserve an intro like that, man. That's a legendary resume. I got Ray Tolbert here with me, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing fine, AJ. I'm blessed, man. Thank you for inviting me out. It's always a pleasure to talk to another IU legend as yourself, man.
No, man, it's exciting, man. I was reading that resume. I'm like, hey, we need them flowers today, man. That's impressive. And to be the man of God that you are, man, and to be giving back like you have been, that makes it even better with the kind of resume that you have. You ought to be really commended for that, man. That's what we all about.
Well, AJ, I appreciate that, man. You know, to God be the glory. You know, he's given me these abilities to, in the past, like you said, those days were good. Yep. And now today, man, I'm taking what I have as a platform and adding that to my resume to win souls for Christ. You know, so that's what it is for me. And whatever I can do to help people in a spiritual way, in a spiritual aspect, and of course, you know, go back and reminisce a little bit and have fun about the good old days, man. Yep. You know, with the man Bobby Knight and all those Isaiah, Mike Woodson, all those guys, I was with them, and it's a blessing, man. So I appreciate the accolades and the flowers and all that. But to be humble, man, I'm very grateful to be able to talk with you and share with the people out there, you know, in the Illinois, Indiana area. So thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Hey, no problem, man. You have you got a story to tell, man. I wonder when that book or that memoir coming out, man, because you talk about Bob Knight, and we're gonna get into all of this, but you talk about Coach Knight, you talk about Mike Woody, you talk about Zeke, Randy Whitman, Landon Turner. I mean, the list goes on. And then your career in the NBA where you're battling you're battling the Abdul-Jabbar, you're battling, like, you have your own team, Kent Benson, our own former IU alum. Like, so we're gonna get to all that. But for that generation of fans and followers out there who don't know you, don't know who Ray Tolbert is and what his impact was on Indiana basketball in the late 70s, early 80s, man. Let's start from the beginning, man. In Anderson, Indiana. Let's talk about what life was like growing up in Edison, Indiana in the 60s and the 70s for you.
Well, you know, growing up in Anderson, Indiana, it's more of the west side of Anderson, a little neighborhood called Hazelwood, and you know, a lot of poverty there. People working 2 and 3 jobs, like my mom and dad worked 2 and 3 jobs, and you know, we got a chance to. Well, for me, I went to Hazelwood Elementary School, and we had a couple of teachers there that were pretty adamant about education, about, you know, futuristic things. And we had some other teachers, unfortunately, who really didn't care. They just wanted to get a paycheck. So I was involved with one of those teachers that just wanted to get a paycheck. I really didn't learn a whole lot in the 3rd grade. So fortunately, my dad moved us out to an area called Brentwood, you know, a little bit more prestigious, because he started working with General Motors. As you know, General Motors is it was there predominantly factory town, hardworking town. And so I was very fortunate to get the accolades, to be able to practice, to be able to play. Coming up in Anderson, I got my first dunk when I was in the 7th grade, you know. And people were like, who is this little skinny kid with this big afro, you know, because I was 6 feet tall, 6 feet tall in the 6th grade, man. People mistake me for a teacher and the principal. So I felt pretty good about that, you know.
Right.
But growing up and went to Madison Heights Junior High, then eventually getting to Madison Heights High School, which is like one of our rivals. It's like Anderson High School and Anderson Highland. They are now all consolidated to one school. So, but back then, everything was very prominent back then, you know, with a lot of factories, General Motors and Guyton. A lot of people came from the South, like my mom and dad came from Dothan, Alabama. We moved up here. I was actually born in Anderson because my other brother was born in Alabama, but That's why I always tell people roll tide.
Right. I see you
So I'm
on
an IU guy now, but it was very fortunate, AJ. I got a chance to play freshman basketball all the way up to, of course, playing for Phil Buck, who used to be a player for, he's a player for IU back in the 50s and 60s, was named Phil Buck. He was my high school coach.
Okay.
And he went on to be with the Lord. But I tell you what, man, I got a chance to really play with some great guys. As you know, Bobby Wilkerson was probably one of my mentors growing up. But we have some other famous people that went to Edison High School that ended up in some other places. Of course, Stu Robinson, Winston Morgan, the Madison Heights connection. But for me personally, man, to be able to become Mr. Basketball in 1977 was an honor. And I took my skills on to down in Bloomington for 4 years for Mr. Knight.
So let me ask you this before you get rolling there. When did you get introduced to the game of basketball?
That's a great question. Actually, ironically, man, my brother was a great athlete. He's still alive, but back
shout
then,
him out. What's his name?
David Jr. David Tolbert Jr. My big brother. He started out as a football player, very, very athletic. He played baseball. And so I tried to shadow him, but unfortunately he had to work because we had to make ends meet. So he gave up his career to help me, to help our family, survive. So I always give him credit for allowing me to hone my abilities and my skills because of his sacrifice. So, my first time playing organized ball, believe it or not, man, was probably the 5th grade.
Wow.
And I wasn't really that good. I was just tall. Okay. So I had to learn the hard ropes, but the hard knocks, playing on the courts, the Wilson's Boys Club, Southwest Boys Club, 10th Street Boys Club. And I was a real go-getter as far as trying to learn, but I had to learn the hard way because I was really naive, but I wasn't that sharp at first. But once I figured out how to play this game, after I got beat up by a lot of guys who were much better than me, I got tired of getting bullied. So I got stronger. I started lifting weights, man. I got stronger. And when I finally got my first dunk, like I said, in 7th grade, and I started excelling in that, I felt like I was unstoppable, man, because I was doing the things that Glenn Robinson, Big Dog, was doing, what Magic was doing. I could bring the ball up, I could dribble, I could shoot, I could pass. But when I got down to Bloomington, all that went away.
Hey, man, I get it. Get in that system.
I know, man.
Get in that system, man. What in high school? So when did you hit? I always ask my brothers that over 6'6", that growth spurt really changes the game for you. When did you hit yours, or were you just already bigger than the other kids?
Yeah, I in my school at Brentwood Elementary School, I was always taller than everybody. And then 7th grade, if I can remember, I was probably about 6'3" in the 7th grade. And I hit that spurt my 8th and 9th grade. By the 8th and 9th grade, I was 6'5". And then by the time I became a senior in high school, I was always about 6'9.5". So my growth, I would say my growth spurt probably jumped from the 8th grade to the 12th grade.
Wow. Who do you credit for setting the foundation for your development? Like I tell people all the time, I didn't have a trainer. I know a lot of kids have trainers and stuff, all this stuff. But when I was coming into middle school, I just played every day. I played all day, every day. And I watched videos of Michael Jordan, Come Fly With Me, and Isaiah Thomas, all these dudes. And I just went and emulated what I saw on the videotape every day. And I'm curious to know, because like you said, you were extremely skilled. You had the Magic Johnson. Who do you credit anybody for that, or what was the development like for those skills?
Man, you got some great questions, man. So I'm gonna try to condense it. When I looked up and when I first saw Wilt Chamberlain play, and I saw Bill Russell play, and of course Dr. J, I tried to style my game after all, and Kareem, I styled my game after them. But the hard knocks came on the playgrounds of Hazelwood, playing against guys like these names you may know, you may not, but the people from Edison know.
Yep.
Roy Taylor, who was Mr. Basketball back in, I believe, 74, 73, 74.
Okay.
From Anderson High School. Tony Marshall. We had Harry Stamp. My brother, he used to beat me up a lot.
Yeah.
And I had a cousin who rest his soul. His name is Jerry Pullman. He's my oldest cousin of our family. He's like the matriarch. Jerry's about 6'4", 284 pounds.
Right.
The big hands. Our family got the big hands, man.
Big hands.
The claws,
Right.
And so we he really taught me a lot. I looked up to him, of course, my brother. And so, but I started styling my game as far as learning the game from them, how to shoot, how to dribble, how to pass.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as watching the guys on television, some of my idols, of course, Julius Erving, man.
Right.
Dr. J, Iceman, Gervin. Like I mentioned those names before, but Wilt Chamberlain was something special, man.
Absolutely.
People don't really give him his credit. They look at Michael Jordan, which not taking anything away from MJ, but
No
brother,
doubt. Mm-hmm.
if you could average 50 points a game and 20, 25 rebounds a game for a whole season, Wilt Chamberlain was it, man. Of course, Bill Russell won 11 championships. That's unheard of.
Right.
But those are the guys that I kind of looked up at, towards and kind of gravitated towards. And then, of course, when I got to college, I started looking at other players and our peers.
Mm-hmm,
so
definitely.
I always looked at Mike Woodson.
Right.
Of course, I looked at Kent Benson, Bobby Wilkerson.
Yeah.
Definitely Bobby Wilkerson. Bobby was the guy who really put Anderson on the map, and he put from an Anderson perspective, an IU perspective, man.
Right.
I followed Bobby all his career.
Right. Yeah.
I used to play one-on-one with Bobby, man. Tried my best to beat him, bro.
Yeah.
Could not beat Bobby Wilkerson, man. Could not beat Bobby.
Hey, man, we love Bobby.
I had to wait till he got old to beat him.
So I got you now. I want to play today.
Yeah. But yeah, great questions, man. So yeah, I kind of styled my game after them. So
this is what we do, man. When did you notice that you were beginning to separate talent-wise from your peers? Because it's always that moment you're like, man, I'm nice. I could do something. I could do something with this. When was that moment for you?
I think it probably came, and a quick story. When I was a sophomore in high school, Phil Buck didn't really believe in playing the younger players, starting in and put them out there like freshmen, sophomores. But my sophomore year, I was coming off the bench, and we were playing number 1 ranked teams in Indiana, number 2 ranked teams, and we were beating them. And so I just had fun, man. I wasn't really worried about starting or coming off the bench. I just want to be in the game when the game was important. You understand.
Thank you.
And so what people need to understand is as long as I'm in the game when it counts, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But here's the ironic story when I think I really felt like I was probably at that time, I was really ready to move up. One of our forwards, he's no longer with us either. Kirk Marillion. I'm a good friend with his brother, Kyle Marillion. But Kirk Marillion went to the coach and said, "Coach, you need to start Ray." Because even though he was a senior and I'm a sophomore, he realized how important it was to win.
Right.
And I was a killer in practice. Because what I did in practice, I did in the game, man. I tried to beat everybody at everything.
Right.
You wasn't gonna beat me in the sprint. You wasn't gonna beat me in the layup drills.
Right.
Whatever it took, man, I was gonna be that guy. And I think that's when it hit me, man. When I was a sophomore in high school, I felt like I was that guy who could do more things. And so I kind of carried that attitude, of course, with gratitude. But man, I was just the guy who just loved to play the game.
Absolutely.
And, if I was out there playing against the best, I wasn't intimidated because when they saw me, they were intimidated of me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I 6'9", could jump out the gym, could shoot, pass, dribble. I was averaging 25 points a game, and I was triple teamed every game.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but and unfortunately, my senior year, man, my junior year, we had an average height of 6'8". Yeah, Chris Falker, Jonathan Watson, and myself, our front line was an average of 6'8", and man, we were beating everybody. But unfortunately, we had a couple of guards. If we had you on our team,
right.
we probably would have went undefeated.
Absolutely.
But we had some guys, man, who just didn't want to keep their nose clean, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Hanging out on the corners, man, not doing right. But for me, growing up, in church, having a pastor, my mom, my dad were in ministry. That kind of kept me from. It saved my life, to be honest.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Because
awesome.
like you said, I know you from Chicago. I don't know if you grew up or Peoria.
From Peoria,
grew up on the west side or south side of Peoria, man.
Yeah.
Peoria ain't no joke either.
Ain't no joke either. I try to tell them, man. Don't let the smooth face fool you. It's not.
Come on, man.
Not for the weak around here. This is what we do. So I definitely I understand everything you're saying, especially the part. Was really important that you said that guys, the upperclassmen came to the coach and said, man, we need to play him. That will never happen today because
absolutely.
It's all about me. And that they're not trying to win the game or win the season or be successful, man. I hope people take the message out of that and give it to the kids that, be selfless. When you see somebody that can help the team win, I don't care. Hey, bring them along. Hey, whoever, I don't care, as a freshman, 8th grader, bring them along. We need them to help win. So I
always tell people, AJ, you got to play like you in first and practice like you in second, man.
Right.
That's how you get better.
I like that. I'm writing that down.
Yeah. Play like you in first, practice like you in second. Yep. Because for me, I tried to be, like I said, I tried to win at everything that I put my mind to. And so when I was a freshman at IU, there was a couple of guys ahead of me, but man, I put the fear of God in them, bro. If I'm going to come to IU, I really didn't want to play center. I really didn't, but I had no choice because I was the biggest guy on the team. I could do everything. I was quick. I could run. But when Landon Turner came my sophomore year, I said, yes, now I can play the wing. I can get out there and shoot my J's and stuff like Ted Kitchell did. And Landon did not want to play center, man. So Bobby Knight put me in the middle. I'm like, oh, no.
Who kept you in the middle? Hey, talk about, so I'm sure at 6'9", y'all averaging 25 and 13, you killing everybody, your recruitment picked up. Well, did you have a rigorous recruiting process, or did you kind of already know where you wanted to go?
Well, it's funny. Man, you got some good questions. Maybe you do your homework.
Definitely.
I'll tell you what, AJ, what happened, like my junior year in high school, I started getting a lot of letters.
Okay.
And this is a true story. It's going to be in my book. My high school coach really didn't want me to look at any HBCU.
Really?
And here's a true story. I had a whole lot of letters from every college in America. I was one of the most highly sought after athletes during that time, even more so than Magic, because Magic and I played on the same McDonald's All-American high school game.
Wow.
But to make it honest with you, I had Illinois State on my mind, UCLA, Michigan State, Michigan. I looked at Tulane.
Yeah.
And when I got my letters from the HBCUs, I just want to keep them as memorabilia, right? Yeah. So one day my coach said, Ray, go in my office and get my whistle. I left my whistle. So I went in his office, man. He said, it's in my left drawer at the top. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Oh man.
And when I went in there, AJ, man, I looked in there, I saw some letters that said Ray Tolbert.
Yeah.
I looked in the trash can. There was a whole bunch of letters that had been opened that said Ray Tolbert.
Really?
Now, I might be wrong, but when you get letters addressed to you, you're not supposed to open them, are you?
Touch them. Don't touch them.
Let alone throw them away. So me and my high school coach had a fallout, man, for a long time before we went to the I got this picture where he and I took a picture. I'm over here, he's over there. I'm looking at me, he's looking at me. I was mad, man.
Right.
Why did you throw my letters away? Those are my letters. Oh, and here's another thing, man. He called me Raymond Lee. My name is not Raymond.
Right.
My name is Ray Lee.
Right, yeah.
When he told Bobby Knight that I don't like to call Raymond Lee, he started calling me Raymond Lee.
Right.
And so now, and check this out, man. You play with Chicago. Now in the NBA register, they got me as Raymond Lee.
And that ain't your name. That's crazy.
What they heard Bobby Knight say goes, right?
Right. Yep.
But yeah, man, I think that's I'm trying to condense it, but yeah, there's a whole lot to it, man. My story, talk about my book. I got a book coming out and everything. That's going to come out probably. It was supposed to come out this year, but I think I'm going to wait till next year. But there's just some other things I want to add. You know how sometimes you start writing things.
Absolutely, and all of it start popping in your head.
Yeah, and it starts popping in your head. You want to go back, and kind of modify it. So that's what I'm working on right now. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. Great questions, man. Great questions.
Okay, so IU come in the picture because you named all these colleges. You ain't say Indiana. So they finally.
That's what I went.
You was waiting on them.
You want me to tell the true story why I went to IU instead of Purdue?
Yeah.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
Well, without mentioning a whole lot of names, but if you go back and do your homework, you're going to figure it out anyway.
Right.
When we played Kentucky, we got the high school all-star games. I was Mr. Basketball in 1977, and there was another player on our team who I thought, and everybody else thought, that he was going to be Mr. Basketball. And so I would tell you honestly, man, I went to all the Purdue camps. I went to all of their events. Good friends of mine, even to this day, are Walter Jordan, who played for Purdue, and Frank Kendrick, who was a Purdue player. He was a coach. And the coach at the time was Fred Schaus, Roger Blaylock, and there's another assistant coach by the name of George Favor, who now owns B. Wendell. If you ever heard of B. Wendell.
No, okay.
A lot of these guys are doing real well, okay? Right. And so, I was going to go to Purdue, and I went to an IU Purdue game. That's when Joe Barry Carroll was going off on Kent Benson. Right.
Oh, okay.
So I was getting ready to sign with Purdue, brother. No lie. But they made the mistake of signing this other guy who and I never got along, man. We never got along in the All-Star games. We lost both games. He didn't play up to his potential. Yeah. And I believe he just really sabotaged the game because he was in spite of but not becoming Mr. Basketball. I said, look, man, I didn't vote for myself. It wasn't me. Right. And then he started calling me everything but my name. So he got on that. He got on my hood side. Yeah. And I told him, I said, well, I guess that's why they voted me Mr. Basketball and you didn't. Oh, why did I say that?
Oh, I know that.
so we was about to go after, man. You don't know me, man. I'm from the west side of Edison, brother. I'll show you some stuff. You might be from another region, but I'm from a region too.
Absolutely.
But so I figured, well, since they signed this guy first, I got to go back at him and go down south to get back at him for 4 years.
And that's why you ended up at. That's why Indiana started.
I ended up at IU.
Wow. Who recruited you from IU, and what was your first conversation with Coach Knight? Did you know much about Coach Knight and his antics and mentality back then, or had it not even festered yet?
It really didn't register. I really didn't know a lot about Coach Knight at the time. But I knew, he won with Bobby Wilkerson. Yeah, so that was probably a given. Yeah. But Bobby used to tell me some stories about Coach Knight and his practices, man.
Right.
he said, man, I can't tell you what to do. I can't make you, whatever you want to do, it's on you. I said, well, I figured if Bobby can do it, I can do it. But he told me some things, man, and I really didn't understand what he really meant.
Of course. I know.
When I got down there, AJ, he probably wasn't as mean with you guys as he was with us. Because I heard that same thing when Wayne Radford and the other guys who came before me was telling Joby Wright. Who else was it? Steve Downing was telling me. Yeah. Man, Bobby he just came fresh out of Army, coaching there. And he had discipline on his mind. He was the general. They called him the general for a reason. And man, when I got done doing that first practice, you might remember this. Every time he comes through them curtains, and we have closed practices, he would say zigzag.
Yep, zigzag.
Zigzag. Oh, we did defensive slides, defensive stance, man. This is no lie, for at least 20 minutes.
Right, easy.
Like, this ain't basketball.
He didn't change that.
Really, boy. But what I didn't realize was, man, he made us better defensive players even without touching the basketball. We had defensive drills for 20 minutes, man.
Right. Yep.
But anyway, yeah, man. So that's why.
What was your first conversation with him like?
Oh, when he came and recruited me, yeah.
Yeah.
When I believe, here's another story. We was playing at the Wigwam, Edison, Indiana. There's the second largest gym in the second largest high school gym in America.
Right. Oh, wow.
The largest high school gym is called Newcastle, which is in Indiana. That's where Kent Benson played.
Okay.
And the second largest gym was the Anderson Indians, Anderson Wigwam, that held like 9,500.
Right.
The Chrysler Arena in Newcastle held like 10,000 plus. And so we were playing one of our rivals, Highland High School. They had Rick Lance on that team, who was also on my all-star team in 77.
Okay.
So we became pretty cool, you know. But I had just given them 44 points, and the coach took me out with like 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I'm like, Coach, don't take me out, because I didn't know how many points I had, right? I was just balling, man.
Oh, you felt good.
I could have had 50 or 60, you know.
Right, you felt good.
Yeah, and so after the game, man, you know, I'm in the shower, you know, singing and everything, and somebody had said Coach Knight was on the other end because Fred Schaus had came in before Coach Knight, and I talked to Fred Schaus and Roger Blaylock. They said, Ray, good game. We can't wait to sign you. I said, yeah, thanks, Coach. I'll see you guys later. And then somebody said, hey, man, Coach Knight's back here. I said, Coach Knight? And he said, somebody's back there trying to sing but can't sing. I'm like, oh, this guy, he's a funny guy, right? And so he come in the locker room, man, and this is what he said, AJ, no lie. He says, Tolbert, you're going to IU, and we're going to win a championship. I'll see you later. Turned out, walked out the locker room.
Wow.
I looked at my team and said, that dude is crazy. True story, man.
Right.
And so I said, well, I doubt if I'll be going down here. But it's amazing, man. He put those words in. He put them words in the back of my brain, man. I ended up going to IU.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I guess he knew something I didn't do. I was not going to go to IU, brother, because I heard, like I said, I heard the rumors through Bobby Knight about Bobby Knight through Bobby Wilkerson.
Right.
And so, but I said, well, man, there was about 6 or 7 times I was going to quit. I promise you, I was going to quit. Everybody has that time where they say,
don't talk about that yet. That's coming up.
Yeah, okay, I won't. I'm gonna take a drink.
You know, I had to ask that question. That is a must ask question. So
okay.
So you decided to go to IU, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with all that being said, what was the, you know, obviously you already said the ultimate deciding factor was, you know, you knew you would win, you knew you would compete for a championship, and that's what got you
right.
out. So at the end of the day, that's why we all try to go there. Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, now's the time, because they're offering a $250 match bonus for our first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one play to turn your money into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With football season kicking off, get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading the BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I got this segment called a Hoosier 10, man. I'm going to ask you 10 questions that only any basketball player could answer. First question, what dorm or apartment did you stay in as a freshman?
At the time, it was called McNutt. I was at McNutt.
Still there. It's still there.
McNutt at my freshman year, and then later on, I think the second semester, the Coach Knight moved us all out to GRC, which would be Ashton.
Oh, okay.
Ashton Center. It's called GRC, but now it's called Ashton Center. I don't know what it's called now.
Right.
And then after that, we moved out to the Fountain Park apartment on 17th Street or 17th Street.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Who were your roommates throughout your 4 years?
Unfortunately, man, my first year, I tried to get them to give me a single. I didn't want to room with nobody because I'm different, man. I like my stuff neat, organized. I don't want nobody come sneaking in my room, taking my food. But Tommy Baker was my first roommate.
Okay.
It was either him or Steve Risley. Steve Risley was a slob, but he's a good guy. He was just a slob. And I had roomed with him during one of the All-Star games when we played Kentucky down at Freedom Hall. And I said, no, I can't room with this cat. So anyway,
okay.
So I was with Tommy Baker. That was my freshman year. And then after that, man, I was in singles. I stayed by myself.
Hey, you was like that guy. I forgot the name of the guy from Texas Western on the movie Glory Road. What's the big thing? He had to have his room to himself. He was kicking the dude out. That was you then. Got the Cadillac in the briefcase. And I remember. What were your top eating spots when you were a player?
Oh man, yeah, you're right. You remember Bruce's Cafe?
No, he must have been gone. I was there. Yeah.
Oh man, there was a guy named Bruce, his wife, his son. I forget where it was exactly. Not too far off campus. There's a place called Bruce's.
Okay.
Bruce's Cafe, and they would always feed us. Man, they loved IU ball.
Right.
And we would go there and eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That was one of my favorite spots. And then, of course, I used to like Domino's Pizza.
Oh, yeah, we had pizza.
I had to have that. And where else did I like to go? Of course, I guess at the time, I don't know if KFC was there or not.
Yeah.
Man, we talk about 78, 79.
I know, yeah.
A whole lot at Bloomington back then, man. But now you go back to campus, oh, man, it's a whole new world down there. I should have been born 30 years later.
Anything you need, man. All right. What was your most memorable individual game at IU where you just felt like, this my night? I'm getting off. I'm killing.
You mean in Bloomington?
No, just in an Indiana jersey.
Well, one of my best games as a collegian was against Maryland. The first game we played in our 81 championship run.
Okay.
I think I had 26 points, about 9, 10 rebounds. I had about five vicious dunks.
Vicious, again.
And we were playing against Albert King, Buck Williams, Charles Pittman, and Ernest Graham, and those guys. All those guys went pro, and we beat them like 92 to 60 something. You know, or 99. It was 99 to 60 something. Man, we beat them cats so bad. They had us up 8-0, and Coach Knight never believed in calling the first time out.
Right. Yeah.
And so he looked at me. He looked at Isaiah. He looked at Landon. Looked at Kitchen and Whitman. He said, "Okay, we're gonna run." And we were like, "Really? We're gonna run? We've been trying to do that all season." Man, when he released the house, man, we went crazy, we didn't lose another game. Of course, we won the championship.
Obviously, yeah. Hey, that's a dope story, man. What player did you have the most competitive battles with in the big team?
Probably Landon Turner.
Yeah.
As far as in practice, man, Landon was a beast, man.
What about opponents?
Opponents, I would probably have to say Kevin McHale, Herb Williams, Clark Kellogg. As far as in my position, I would say Joe Barry Carroll was tough. I played out of position for 4 years. I had to play against Joe Barry Carroll. I had to play against Sam Bowie. Let's see, who else was pretty tough? We had a hard time. Man, one guy named was Craig Shelton. We called him Big Sky from Georgetown.
Okay.
Man, he was like 9 for 9, 10 for 10. He had a perfect game. He didn't miss a shot, man. Didn't miss a shot.
Hey,
I was like, man, he was a lefty. He didn't look like he was a whole lot, but man, that cat was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Quick, lefty, hard to guard. And you turn your back, man, he was gone.
It be players like that.
Yeah. So I think Kevin McHale, Michael Thompson from Minnesota, Eddie Johnson from Illinois.
Right.
Man, I mean, there's so many of them, man. Ohio State was tough. Illinois was tough. Back in the Big Ten when we played, everybody had ballers, man.
Everybody had ball players.
Even Northwestern and Wisconsin had good players.
Yeah, everybody did. Dang, man.
But I would say one of the toughest guys I had to play against, I would have to say, was Kevin McHale, Joe Barry Carroll. Let me see. just tough, man. I mean, in my position, right, that I can remember. And Herb was a beast, man. Herb was tough.
So basically, you're just saying it was loaded, and every night you had no nights off, basically.
And especially where the Cream and Crimson, man, everybody was bringing their A game, bro.
Yeah, they coming at you, right?
They coming at you, man. So you had to be ready. But it didn't bother me because I was fine. I had that motor, man. I was gonna bring it every time. You know that.
What teammate do you miss playing with the most at IU?
Landon Turner.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
Landon Turner would be number one. I would have to say Mike Woodson, number two, and then Isaiah Thomas, because Mike and I played together for 3 years, and Isaiah and I 2 years. So I really enjoyed playing with Mike Woodson and Landon Turner and Isaiah Thomas. Those three guys. Those were my buddies. You know.
This next question I can probably answer myself since hearing your story about the guy that went to Purdue. How many times did you win at Purdue?
That is a great question. 0. I did not win at Purdue, man. I never won at Purdue, but they never beat me at IU.
Yeah.
I was 0 for 4 in Mackey, and I was 4 for 4
in Bloomington. Hey, I'll take that. That's love. Because with that story you told earlier, I'm feeling like you had some outstanding games at Purdue.
I did, but we didn't win.
Right.
I did, but we never won, man. Close, but no cigar.
Yeah. All good. What was your most memorable Bob Knight moment as a player?
Oh man, I don't know. There's about 25 of them.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them wasn't good, man.
I'm
not even gonna cross that line, but
right.
I will say this. Let me see. I don't think I've ever got a real compliment until after I graduated.
Same here. Hey, I got one compliment.
I didn't know. It was strange, AJ, because man, like the first time I came, all the players come back and say hello and say thank you. Come talk to the kids that are playing at that time after you graduate.
Right.
And I went to his office, knocked on his door because I had called in and everything and said, Coach, I'm gonna come talk with you and everything. And man, when I walked into the office, it was almost like it was a whole different person. He treated me like a real person. I'm like,
right, yeah, for real. Like,
Coach, he goes, Ray, how you doing? Have a seat. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, man, this man is. He must have put on the act for 4 years that I didn't know this man was really cool like this.
Right,
I did not know that, man.
Right.
I thought I was in the Twilight Zone, bro.
I can imagine. I know that feeling, man.
Yeah.
I know that
but
feeling.
there was some good and some bad, man. I think if I had to say anything positive, I remember he had made a compliment. He said, I think that the hardest, the best player, I don't know what was in his book he wrote or somewhere, he said, one of the best players I ever had the pleasure of coaching was Ray Tolbert. I never heard that, but somebody told me that. I'm like, really? Because, man, I took a lot, man. I gave up a whole lot, bro.
Absolutely.
I sacrificed my game for, Woody, for Isaiah, for Landon, Whitman, Kitchell.
Yeah.
I mean, I basically gave up my scoring ability to play defense, block shots, and rebound, and it kind of deterred me as far as my ranking in the pro draft.
Absolutely, yeah.
But overall, man, I'm just glad I had a chance to be a part of it. So looking back on it, would I change some things? I probably would have, but I would have never changed the love for the game, if you know what I mean.
No doubt. Over the years, you seem to keep up with Indiana basketball, right? So
somewhat. I mean, I like Race and Trace. I like those two guys. Of course, now that Woody's down there, I'm trying to catch up on, catch up on things. But as far as me looking at the team, I saw them play Syracuse. I kind of went back to my old mentality. I'm saying, why don't you guys give the ball to Trace more, and why don't he go right more? Why don't you make free throws?
Hey, you be
over some free throws, man.
You got a whole segment on that. You be speeding, man. What I was gonna ask. You got a whole. I'm gonna ask you that.
I don't know how much time you got on your podcast, man. I apologize.
It's unlimited. I ain't gonna take all your time, but I'm gonna take a lot of it.
Okay, cool.
Right,
I'm good, man.
A lot of it, though. But I'm asking that question because over the years, it changed, the game changed, everything changed. I just want you to name your top 5 players that you enjoy watching the most over the years since you graduated at IU.
Okay. Well, you won. I enjoy watching you play. Yeah. Alan Henderson.
I like
Calvert
that.
Chaney.
Yeah.
Calvert Chaney, fun to watch. That's 3. 2 more. I guess you could say Steve Alford.
Steve Alford, yep.
And I like watching Damon Bailey play too. I like those guys, man. They were pretty solid. Yep. But as far as really making an impact, I think, I think I go back to Alan Henderson and Jared Jeffries. And,
I love both of them, Alan and Jared. Yeah.
And Sean May was a good player. I like those guys.
Sean went to North Carolina, so you think it's somebody else?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what? You're right. Yeah, I like Sean May when he was in high school.
Oh, okay. He's like, here we go.
Yeah, but you're right. But yeah, I stand corrected on that. So yeah, Jared Jeffries. Yeah. There's another kid, man. I like Mo Creek before he got hurt.
Before he got injured.
I like Mo Creek, man, but he just couldn't keep them knees good, you know.
Yeah, he couldn't stop injury. That's good stuff, man.
Was it Vernell Jones?
Vernell Jones, yeah.
And then there's a lot of guys.
There's a whole bunch of them. That's why it's a loaded question. You know what I mean? It's a lot of
You
know, that you have Cody Zeller. You know.
Yeah. Of course, you know, Victor Oladipo.
Right, yep.
Cody Zeller. I mean, all those guys, man.
Awesome.
Real great players.
Awesome. And the final question of the Hoosier 10, man, it's a tough question. So think about it. You had to name one person as the greatest Hoosier of all time. Who would that be? Besides yourself.
Man, I appreciate that. Well, going back to when I saw the undefeated team, as far as what the most impact, I think from that team would probably be Scott May.
Right, yeah.
Scott May was Sandusky, Ohio, bad boy. Of course, all those guys were good, but Scott, Bobby, and Quinn were the catalyst, the big
Absolutely.
three. Yeah. As far as, I guess, the guys that I played with, but the guys that I've seen is my top 10, top 5, top 1. Had to be Isaiah Thomas, man.
Okay, all right.
Zeke was the real deal.
Yeah.
Of course, Zeke, Landon, Mike Woodson, Scott May, Quinn Buckner. I like Damon Bailey. Of course, Alfred was cool. Alan Henderson.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Calvert Chaney was a monster too, man. I love watching Calvert play.
So smooth. So smooth.
Man, it's so many, AJ, man. It's really hard.
It's just a loaded question, man. It's a lot of y'all greats, man, that just transcended Indiana basketball. But that was the end of our Hoosier 10, man. But I want to talk to you about those individual players, because one thing I noticed, you don't notice I didn't notice when I was playing, but as I got older and they talked about your team, and I was like, man, okay, Isaiah Thomas, they always talk about Isaiah. He was the catalyst. Right. But when you look at the roster, it's like pro after pro after pro. This wasn't no scrub team. Like, it's almost like y'all underachieved coming on and losing 9 games, still winning the Big Ten. But I want to rewind just one more year, because you talked about Mike Woodson. You talk about that team that won a Big Ten title eventually in 80. What was a basketball player Mike Woodson like? And did you see him being the impact star that he became when he walked in there? Or I'm not sure what your gap is when you guys came in. When did he come in versus when you come?
Well, yeah, I came in 78. Woody was there in 77.
Okay.
77, 78. Yeah.
Well, he was 1 year ahead of you.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So when you got
there, Broad Ripple.
Was you like, dang, or did you just see it develop over time?
It developed, man. Because when I seen Woody, man, he was so frail, man, skinny.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like he could do anything. But man, he had one smooth jump shot, man. He could bank the ball from anywhere, shoot from anywhere. He wasn't a great defender because he always relied on me to help him out, which I did.
I would have used that too. Go send him away.
But Woody was very deceptive, man. Woody was a smooth operator. You know, he had back surgery. He would come in the locker room before the game, practice, ice up. After the game, ice up. I'm like, this cat ain't gonna make it.
Right.
But when he had his operation on his back and he came back a little earlier than what he was supposed to, you know, we went on a little run. You know, my junior year, you know, we ended up playing against Purdue in the semifinals down in Lexington. They beat us. They went on to in 1980. They went to the Final Four.
Okay.
But yeah, Woody was probably an impact player that really surprised me. I saw him develop and get better, and so he worked hard. So I emulated my work ethic after him because I saw how hard he worked. Even though I had more abilities and more talent as far as athletically, but Woody was just a hard worker, man. You know, hard work beats talent every time.
Yeah, definitely.
Know? And so I looked at him. And there was a couple other guys on our team, but nobody had the impact like Mike Woodson did.
Right.
I would say that much. And then, of course, after he left, and then I kind of took that role. Glenn Growall and myself took that role. And then when Isaiah came, you know, Knight kind of gave him the reins because, you know, he was a wizard with the basketball, man.
Right.
He made life easier. So I would say, you know, Mike Woodson, then Isaiah, of course, Landon was right there. I tell you what, man, that year, my senior year, when we lost those 9 games, once Landon got his act together, we never lost another game, man.
It was over.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
And I've been trying to get Landon to play from his freshman year to his junior year. He finally, that light bulb finally went off, man, his junior year. And then, of course, he got hurt. And it shocked everybody, you know, but I think Landon definitely would have been the #1 draft pick his senior year. No question about it.
That's awesome. And so you kind of talked about it earlier, and I want to go back to that. It's like, there's a huge adjustment period for a lot of players who come to Indiana and play for Bob Knight. You know, it's almost like I feel as if he's reining you in and he's keeping you from really exploding. But it's for the team, the betterment of the team and winning, but it's not necessarily best for you individually for you to go make money to feed your family. So tell me about that, adjusting to Coach Knight's style, how you handle it, and talk about those times where you was finna chuck up the deuces and get up out of Bloomington. I know it happened. It happened to all of them.
When Magic was at Michigan State, because I was going to go there too, but they had all those positions were full. You know, Greg Kelser, Sam Vincent, Jay Vincent, Ron Charles, all those guys. So, you know, of course, my choice was Purdue. Then again, you know that story, so I went to IU. But when every time, I don't know, man, it could be just me, I don't know, but every time we played Michigan State, like a couple of days before, Knight would put me in this doghouse for whatever reason to keep me honed in or whatever, because he figured he must have got wind that I was going to try to go hardship and get up out of there. Okay. So my freshman year, and believe it or not, I started every game my career except for 4. And those 4 games came against Michigan State.
Right. Oh, wow.
Michigan State, he would not, he was dogging me out. Every practice we played Michigan State. The year, the 7-9, when they won the whole thing, they beat us 3 times that year. I've never gotten beat by the same team 3 times in a row.
Right.
My sophomore year, they beat us. We never beat Michigan State until my junior year, man.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because Greg Kelser and Magic Johnson they were on a roll. I'm telling you.
Definitely.
You saw the impact Magic had in the NBA. Okay. Absolutely. And Greg Kelser, ironically, Greg Kelser and I were teammates in Seattle, and Magic and I were, of course, teammates in LA. So I got a chance to really talk to them about a lot of things. I told them about my stories and everything. They said, and Greg Kelser was saying, he goes, Tolbert, what made you go to IU?
Right.
I said, man, it's a long story. But anyway, I really believe that I was going to say deuces probably after my freshman year, I had called my mom, called my dad. I said, look, Mom, I said, I got to go somewhere else. But see, honestly, AJ, I was scared, man, because Knight had this reputation of when a guy quit, he would send them to Timbuktu and Siberia.
Right,
You know?
right, exactly.
He wouldn't give us blessings, man. So I kind of stayed because I was afraid that he would do something drastic like that or put a bad name on me. But here's another thing too, because of the Indiana I'm going back, because of the Indiana All-Stars, people thought I was the problem with that team for not winning. But there was another guy who had the problem. And I don't know if you remember this referee named Charlie Foudy, who was a Big Ten ref. Everybody knew him. He had made a bet with IU, with Coach Knight, that I wouldn't last 4 years at IU.
Really?
So you know what happened to that story. But anyway, because see, when people put a stigma on you, man, when people assume that you're somebody that you're not, and you have to just prove your character to everybody, man, I got along with everybody, but I wasn't afraid of nobody.
Right. Yep.
And so what my freshman year, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I said, I'm gone. I'm out of here. And she told me this, man, for 4 years. She told me this. She says, Ray, you made that choice, so stick with it. Right. And she said this. She said, if you can make it, you can take it.
Right. Yeah.
And that kept me at IU, man. My mom kept me at IU. She says, don't quit, because you're not a quitter, and you haven't quit on nobody. Right. And there's only probably one time in my life where I quit, man. I was overseas, and I walked away from a contract, man, because the coach wasn't right, the players wasn't right, people were treating me bad. Yeah. I love the people there. I love the food. But brother, I walked away from a contract that I should have kept. Not that I look back on it, but I walked away, man, because my character and my integrity was more important than the dollar bill, bro.
Exactly. Your peace of mind. Yeah. Like I walked away from European contracts as well. I mean, people don't understand what you get treated like and how difficult it is to play European basketball. Yeah. Especially 15 years back and further, 10 years back and further, man. So I completely understand that. But I'll tell you, every player I talk to, I've had 30 of them, 35 of them on the show. We all had that moment where we was like, man, you know what? I think the grass might be green on the other side. For some reason, Coach Knight has that stigma to him, man. You like, you know what? I might want to just stay. Like at least I'm gonna graduate at the end of the day. Right. There you go. Man, let me ask you this. So you won a Big Ten, you won a Pan Am Gold in 79, Big Ten titles in 80, 81. Which team, looking back on it, was the more talented team? Your 80 championship team or your 81 championship team?
I think we had more talent on the 80 team.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we had a lot of injuries.
Right. Okay.
But our 81 team, probably we had more mature players, more players who played their roles better in 81. But I think that 80 team was more talented.
Right. Okay.
Because we had Mike Woodson, myself, Landon, Isaiah, Butch Carter, Jim Thomas, Tony Brown, Randy Whitman, Ted Kitchell, Steve Bushy, Steve Risley, Glenn Grunwald. So we had a real good team in 80. We should have won it all.
Yeah, for
80.
sure. My God,
but
almost had too much talent.
When Woody got hurt, but we won the NIT in 79 with pretty much that same squad. But that next year, man, we knew we were going to go places, right? But then we had those injuries with Whitman and with Woody, and so it kind of hurt us, man. It set us back. And so we took that same energy from those devastating losses, those devastating times to mature. So 81, we got by, man. Unfortunately, you know, we had the second round was in Bloomington.
Dang. At home cooking like a mother.
Yes, sir. We played St. Joseph in Alabama, Birmingham, man. The rest was history, bro.
Oh, man. Hey, so
we wasn't going to lose at home, man.
Definitely. Like, that's the food for thought right there. Hey, so you guys, just listen to you talk in 1981, you guys lost 9 games, but just listening to you talk, you correct me if I'm wrong, it sounded like up to a certain point, you guys were kind of underachieving, really, because each of you had like a small little issue with the system or the way it was played. And then somehow, some way it clicked where he finally was like, all right, go. Like, is that fair to say?
Yeah. We were restricted, man. You remember this 5 passes or a layup.
Yeah,
Man,
right.
and I'm thinking, okay, 5 passes, I'm out there by the 3-point line when it didn't have a 3-point line there.
Right,
I wasn't going to shoot a jump shot out there. I could have, but I was playing under Coach Knight.
Yeah, right.
So he told me one time in the finals, man, in the NCAA finals, he said, Tolbert, if you take another jump shot, you're going to be watching us win this championship from the bench.
Damn.
And I'm thinking, wow, he would tell a senior that, and man, it messed up my whole last 2 games, man.
Right, yeah.
The first game I had 26, like I said, against Maryland. Second game I had like 19. Third game I had like 14. Third game I had like 7. And the last game I had like 4.
Right, dang.
So I declined instead of increasing, man. So
wow.
my stock went down, bro. He told me not to shoot, man.
Right. Wow. That's unbelievable. And you guys played against North Carolina in championship game?
Yeah, we played them first earlier in Chapel Hill. I think they beat us by like, 15 or 9. I can't remember exactly what. It was either 9 or 15, 15 or 9, and we beat them in the championship by like 9. I think they beat us by 9 there, and then we beat them by 15.
Right.
So that's how far we've come. That's how far we've matured. Because man, I gave them like 19 in Chapel Hill.
Okay.
And then the second game where we played the championship game, I couldn't hit the ocean, man.
Right.
It happens.
It happens definitely.
Time. Yeah.
Especially when you're not getting a whole lot of shots like you did in high school. Like
and I wasn't getting no touches, man.
Exactly.
I didn't really get a feel. I'm setting screens, getting Isaiah open, getting Whitman open.
Yeah.
And they was keying on me because them cats didn't want me to get no dunk. I had some monster dunks on them in Chapel Hill, man.
Yeah,
they weren't gonna let that happen no more.
you was Daryl Dawkins of the Midwest. That's what you were.
Come on, man. I tried to break the rim every time.
Absolutely. Hey, so you guys talk about your experience playing with Isaiah. Like, okay, when he walked on campus and you played open gym with him for the first time, did you know 40 years later that this dude would be league, 2-time NBA champion, MVP, all this stuff that just you thinking like him walking on campus back in 1979?
Back in 1979, man, when I saw him, I'm thinking, who's this little stubby kid?
Right, yeah.
I really didn't know the legacy of Isaiah Thomas. I heard that he was a good player.
Yeah.
He didn't go to DePaul because they had some other great players there at the time.
Right.
Guard play was Mark Aguirre and Skip Dillard and all them other cats, man, from DePaul. They had a squad. So Isaiah said, well, I better take my talents down to Bloomington.
You're right.
But when I first saw him in open gym, man, quick dribble, could pat the rock, could score anytime, had dimes. I mean, he was a little magic, right?
Right, yeah, right.
So I said, this kid might do some things. And then I really didn't get a chance to see him shine until we played in the Pan Am games in '79.
Oh, okay.
So he had told me, he said, Ray, man, how do you put up with Coach Knight? I just said, Z, you just gotta go, let it go in one and out the other, man, because he's such a type of player that he can get away with stuff. Because Isaiah was way ahead of his time, man.
Yeah.
So I really felt like when he told me he was going to leave after his sophomore year, before we went to the championship run, he said, man, I'm going to get out of here. I said, well, bruh, I don't blame you. I'm a senior. I'm already out of here.
Right. So my time is up.
Yeah, but I figured that he was going to give it his best shot in college to get that ranking. And so when he went number 2 after Aguirre went 1, and then Buck Williams went 3, Albert King went 5, and I went way down in 18.
Right, yeah.
But had I had a great last 2 games, I probably would have been top 10. But here's another true story for you, AJ. we had an All-Star game at the Wigwam in Anderson, 9,300 packed. And at that time, the coach was Paul Silas.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Silas was the coach for the San Diego Clippers, which is now the LA Clippers.
Okay.
And he said he came to my All-Star game. I think I scored like 56 points that game because I knew he was there. They said, man, Paul Silas is here. Man, I put on a show, bro. I did everything that I knew I could do back in high school. And he said, man, I didn't know you could do all that. I said, well, I played for Bobby Knight. He said, oh, yeah. He says, this is what he said, AJ. He says, we got the 8th pick of the first round. I'm going to tell everybody that we're going to pick you. I went around telling all my friends, my family, I'm going to go top 10. I'm going to the San Diego Clippers. Here's the killer. That year, the ownership changed, and Donald Sterling bought the team.
Wow.
And instead of them signing me, they signed Tom Chambers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Imagine all the fun I could have had.
Man, I'm telling you, in San Diego, one of the most beautiful cities in the country. Are you kidding?
Yes, sir.
Man. So you end up, that's great. You end up getting drafted 18th, man. And
by the New Jersey Nets, man, by Larry Brown. Larry Brown didn't like me at all, bro.
Oh, really?
Nah. But I was traded. Like 3 months. I was traded on a road trip. Dang. I was traded on. It's in my book, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell it to you. I was traded on a road trip. We had played the Houston Rockets in Houston, and that next night the Seattle SuperSonics were playing the Houston Rockets in Houston. Right. And we got back on the bus to get ready to go back on the plane to go back to New Jersey. I had just purchased a condo there. I was sharing it with Darwin Cook. And on the bus, man, he says, Ray, come here, kiddo. And I came up to the front of the bus. He says, listen, you just been traded. We had to let you go. I think I was getting punked because I was a rookie, right?
Right, yeah.
I said, come on, coach, don't play with me like that, man. He says, no, I'm serious. You've been traded. Grab your bags and head on back into the arena. You've been traded to Seattle.
Dang, just
True
like
story,
that.
Man.
Wow.
He said these very words. He said, good luck, kiddo. Good luck, kiddo.
How cutthroat was that, boy? Dang.
Deep cutthroat, bro. It hurt me to the core. I looked at him, man. I didn't want to start crying right there because I was showing my manhood, right?
Yeah, right.
I said, Coach, I just got with the team. I just bought a place in New Jersey, man. How could you do this to me? He says, good luck, kiddo. And Darwin Cook said, don't worry about it, Ray. I'll take care of everything, man.
Dang.
To this day, man, Darwin Cook and I are still connected on Facebook and stuff. I still tell him how much I appreciate him for helping me out during that time, man.
That's a heck of a story, man. People don't understand, like, once again, the business of basketball. And that's when basketball becomes good, has a little different outlook to it when you put business into it. It just changes everything, man. That's a heck of a story. I hope people listen.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about I got 2 more segments to talk to you about, and about Indiana's trajectory over the last few years, man, with the coaching changes. Last year they began a search for a new coach, and but I want to know what you thought prior to Archie Miller's departure. What did you think had changed about Indiana basketball? Because I know former players, we have a very, very unique perspective, man, and people don't get it. That's why our cult is special. But as a former player, you won championships there. You were there when it was at its peak, and you just saw it slowly but surely just level out. Even when I was there, we didn't have the success that you guys had. We kept it afloat by winning and being competitive. But then when Coach Knight left, it was just kind of up and down, man. What did you see the change? What would you attribute the change in Indiana basketball to?
I think it started when Neil Reed, Coach Knight got in trouble when he choked Neil Reed.
Yep.
And I forget the name of the president at the time.
Miles Brand.
It was Brand. Yep. It wasn't McRobbie. It was Miles Brand. Mm-hmm. And I think they just had it in for Coach Knight, man. The pressures came on. But I think it all started right then.
Okay.
But I felt like Mike Davis did a good job.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the fans, the culture down in Bloomington, man. You already know how it goes.
Hey, man.
They said, and I think, man, I could be wrong, but I think there was a lot of sabotage going on.
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like I said, even in the NBA, man, it's a cutthroat business, man.
Business.
It's college too. It's cutthroat, bro.
Yep.
And then after Mike Davis left, I guess I don't know. It's was it Sanford? Not Sanford.
Kelvin Sampson.
Kelvin Sampson. I thought he did a good job, but you would think he would have had enough sense not to be making phone calls when he wasn't supposed to be making no phone calls. Right. He could have took that program and got it back on the map like it should have been. He's a great coach. I mean, he went down to Houston. He's doing good there.
Absolutely.
But when he left, I don't know who was next. Was it Tom Crean?
Yeah, I think Crean was after him. Yeah.
Dan Dawkins was there for a second.
Dan replaced him at the end of the year, and then they hired Crean that following summer. Yep.
I thought Crean was a good recruiter to me, but when it comes to X's and O's, I think he put too much emphasis on special this, special that. I mean, this is not football, man. This is basketball.
Yeah.
12 players, you know.
Yep.
But I thought he recruited some good players because I felt like the time Victor Oladipo was going to be the next Dwayne Wade.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Felt that. And I went down there to the elite practice, elite camps and stuff. You know, you was down there with me.
I was down there with you, yep.
We took a picture with Dr. William Wiggins.
We sure
one of my
did.
favorite Professor Wiggins, man.
Yeah, you got to share that picture with me.
By the way, you don't have it? You still got it?
I have it. No, I need that.
I'll send it to you. Okay. I'll send it to you. Yep. But anyway, man, so I felt like Tom Crean had a good thing going, but they just couldn't win the big one.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was X's and O's. Sometimes, man, coaches are so used to a certain pattern, they can't think outside the box. You're so programmed to do things. No matter how much emphasis another team would do a change, you can't change. I think that was his demise.
Right. Yeah.
So when Archie came in, I wasn't. To me, honestly, man, personally, I mean, his brothers did well in Arizona, but I don't. Archie should have stayed at Dayton.
Right.
Right. I'm serious because those leagues against the Big Ten is a whole different animal, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't think the kids really respected him like they should have. And I don't know if he put the fear on him or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was glad that they finally hired somebody in-house.
Right. Yeah.
Like Mike Woodson. So. My only thing about right now with the Hoosiers right now is because they've been. I'll be honest with you, man. I love Mike. I love IU. I love the program, but they're playing too many cream puffs, man. You got to play some teams like Syracuse was a wake up call. Okay. Yeah. Who else did they just lose to?
Wisconsin. Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin. They should have won that game. They should have won both of those games.
Right. Yeah.
You got to make free throws and you got to protect the ball.
Right. Exactly.
You played. You kept the ball, man. And Isaiah played. He kept the ball.
Right.
Butler kept the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Smart kept the ball. These guys did not throw the ball away like everybody else did.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
That's where Tennessee and the other cats on their team, these new guards, young guards, man. Mm-hmm. Everybody can't be James Harden. You just gotta play the game right, man.
Definitely.
You know. Yep. But I think Woody's going to hold them in because they got to start winning some big games now, man. You can't be playing. What's that team they just played a while ago? Merriweather. Who was that, man?
I don't know. You know better than me. Is it in Indiana?
I never heard of them. Why you playing Merriman? Come on, man.
Hey, they call it a money game. You just play them together. That's what they call them, man. I know. I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch that game or the Louisiana game and another one that they played. Northern Illinois, somebody.
See, when you play like Notre Dame, you play Purdue, Butler, somebody like that, man. You play Illinois.
Yeah.
To Peoria, come on, man. Play somebody that got some game, man.
Right, yeah.
I understand how it goes. You got to get that win percentage up.
Get this drive up to 80%. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: so when that process was going through, when the process of hiring a new coach, did you reach out to Scott Dolson, the AD, and give him an idea of what you wanted? And what did you say to him?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Scott Dolson had contacted me. He contacted Landon. I don't know about Isaiah, but I'm pretty sure he did. He did his homework,
Right.
and
Yep.
he was asking me. This is what he said. He says, Ray, give me your top 5 who you think would be a good coach at IU, and I gave it to him. And I said, and one of those guys was Mike Woodson.
Right. Okay.
Mike coached the pros.
Right.
And I told him this. I said, listen, man, Mike Woodson coached at New York. He coached at Detroit. He coached at the Clippers with Doc Rivers. He has the experience, and in Atlanta, he was in Atlanta. And so if you bring him there, you're going to, and this is what I told him. I said, you're going to get more brothers to come down there to Bloomington just to play for Mike because they want to go pro.
Right, exactly. Yep.
That's what I told him. I said, you need to get some coaches down there in Bloomington again, bro.
Yeah.
I said, Mike would be a great asset because Mike knows the game. He's in-house. He knows the system. He knows how to win. He knows how to get the best out of his players. Yep. And I think that was my input as far as for Mike Woodson. I named some other guys, but now that Mike's there, I'm not going to name them other guys. But hey, Mike was a great fit.
Yep, I thought it worked too. And, and I was always advocating for a player coach. I didn't care. I mean, a former player to coach. I didn't care.
Right.
I just didn't feel connected at that time because it just wasn't during Tom Crean's time, during Archie's time, and during Kelvin Sampson's time. He had Dan Dockage on the bench, but I just didn't feel like IU was a bridge that was not connected. And I always felt like it was a black cloud over Indiana basketball because of the way the Coach Knight thing was handled. And it's almost like you walk in a path and you think good things are supposed to happen to you, but you didn't live right in your past. And then as you get to the 2002, you almost win it. And then you get there and, to the Sweet 16, and then you run into a zone. It's like always something that was happening. I was like, that ain't going to change until they right this wrong with Coach Knight. And then I think the heavens will open up, man. Did you have that same feeling?
Yeah, man. When like you said, you mentioned those previous coaches, man. I just didn't feel the nostalgia. I didn't feel like they were an impactful coach.
Right.
Kentucky's coach, and he had some controversy, but that's another story. But I think a coach with like Mike Krzyzewski, impact, because he's a winner, man. He's proven that. Bruce Pearl, somebody like that who has the enthusiasm, who has that wherewithal to bring coaches, bring players together and bring some coaches in. But I'm gonna tell you something funny, man. I tell you what is going to really help IU in their recruitment and with football too. When they get I-69-6 and we got to quit going down State Road 37, stopping every 3 seconds at a light, man, by 30, 45 lights.
Right.
And now that they added on to the football field, they added on to the Smith. I guess how you pronounce it, Smith. Smith. Whatever their name is, man. Smith, I guess. But when Cook passed away too, man, he put a lot of dollars into the program.
Right.
Everybody really appreciated Mr. Cook, Bill Cook, man, from Incorporated. Yeah. But when he left, and when Bobby left, man, I think that's when it kind of trickled down. Because, when you got the dollars to keep everything up at a higher level, as far as respect from other teams, other programs. But when Knight left, when Cook left, and these other guys came in trying to build it back up, they didn't have no success.
Right.
Now, I think not just because it's Mike Woodson, because I know who Mike Woodson is.
Right.
Mike is really putting his heart out there for these kids, man. I think these kids are now starting to buy into what he's trying to put out there, because I saw some good things in that Syracuse game that I didn't see before with his previous coaches. You know, and you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
So I think Mike knows it from a different perspective because he's played on a higher level than these other coaches have coached.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you played on a higher level and you can see things from a different perspective,
right. Yeah.
It makes it easier for the kids to understand where they have to be, where these other coaches didn't have that perspective, man.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Makes sense to me, man. Makes sense to me. And the last part, man, well, you kind of talked about this earlier, man, and about this current IU team. But there's a player, Trace Jackson Davis, that I'm kind of believing that he kind of just not seeing you play. I was only 3 years old when you won the title, so I can't really say that I watch, you know what I'm saying? So, but I would believe that he had a similar game to yours. High motor, protect the basket a little bit, play hard, you know what I mean? He probably gets the ball more than you ever did, but you see some similarities. What would you, if you were on that staff, what would you do to help him take his game to where I know he's trying to get to, that NBA level?
That's a good question, man. I'm pretty sure Mike is working on that, but
Mm-hmm.
I would get Trace Jackson to turn and face and look for his jump shot more,
right?
Because he's more comfortable on the block. But if he ever goes pro, he won't be on that block.
Right.
So he's got to learn how to get a 15-foot, 20-foot game outside the post, and he needs to learn how to go to his right hand.
Right. Yep.
He's all left, man.
Right.
He's all left. Even James Harden can go right.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So he's going to have to learn how to be more active around the 15-foot area, 18-foot area, and be effective with the jump shot and work on his free throws.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, blocking shots. The kid, he's like his dad, Dale Davis, man. Dale was a monster defensively, rebounding, but Dale couldn't shoot that well.
Yeah.
So if he can develop a jump shot, I think the sky's the limit for him, man. If he grows about another inch or so, and he's getting stronger, he's going to be an impactful player. But if I was coaching him, man, I would really have him work on his mid-range game. Of course, work on the post, work on some different moves from both sides of the block.
Right.
Step back, turnarounds, hook shots, jump hooks, fadeaway jumpers. Man, there's about 100 moves that you can make, man. And Kevin McHale can live on that block, but he didn't really have an outside jump shot, but he was 6'11".
Right.
Trace is about 6'9",
Definitely,
You got to be a little bit bigger to play in the pros, man. I'm glad he stayed an extra year because I would have said, don't leave early, bro, because you ain't gonna make it right now. But now he has a better chance because he's starting to understand from a perspective from where Coach Woody can really help him harness his game to a higher level mentally. Okay, physically, bro, he got the attributes, but mentally, you got to be more precise. Yeah, so like I said, man, if I was coaching him, I have him ready. He got a motor. But I have him doing some wonderful things on that court, bro. That's just me. That's how I play.
You heard it from the great one, TJD, man. Take that constructive love, criticism, complete your game, man. That's basically what he's saying, man. So what are you up to finally, man? What you up to these days, man? What is Ray Tolbert living out his dreams, and what's in what they call that, your when your box, things that you want to do?
Bucket list.
That's what I'm looking for. What's on your bucket list, my man?
Well, what I want to do, man, as far as from a spiritual standpoint, I want to build a church. Okay. I want to build a new church from the ground up. My mom's been preaching for over 54 years. She doesn't want to give it up. So, and I'm trying to take it to a whole different level, a whole different perspective. It's a whole new culture out there, man. I'm trying to reach the young people, trying to reach them. And the old traditional ways, man, it's just not working anymore. But God doesn't change. We have to change with the times to, as Paul says, when I'm in Rome, I do what the Romans do.
Right.
So I'm trying to bring impact for the young people to let them know that there is somebody in between the generational gaps that can help you pull them in. So that's what I'm trying to do. I want to build a church. I want to build a facility where I can train kids to improve their basketball skills. I can do camps. I can do individual workouts. That's my dream. My bucket list is to build a new church with probably like a big gym with 3 courts on it, like 12, 14 baskets, man. That's my dream, man. And impact the kids in the community. I mean, I know like what you're doing, man. I think you said something about you, the athletic director for Peoria schools. Yeah, Peoria. That's great, man. Yeah. You can have a great impact for these kids because they know you, they know your name, they know you played big at IU, and Peoria needs people like yourself, just like Anderson needs people like me.
Right.
So I commend you for what you're doing. If I had an impact like you have, I think I can get a lot of things done. But I'm praying about it. Whatever the Lord has for me, man. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of my daughter. My daughter, I wanted her to go to IU. She's 6'1". She's a lefty, but she's at West Virginia Westland. She's a 3-year starter at West Virginia Westland.
Awesome.
She's had a few nagging injuries that's kind of hampered her, but she's a 20-point, 14 rebound person a game, man. She's a monster. She plays like her dad.
Taking after her pops. That's what.
Yeah, man.
Love that, man.
Injuries can take their toll on you, man. So
yeah, I know.
Now that she's home for a couple of weeks, she can rest up, and I can take her to the gym a couple of days and show her some things that we need to work on, like I would with Trace Jackson Davis.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, all that wisdom, man. Keep pouring it into them, and that's the best we can do. Give it back to the community, give it back to the kids in the community, man. And the best reward is to see them prosper at the end of the day. That's why I do it, man. And when is that book coming out, and what's the name of it, man?
Well, I've been thinking about it, man. It's called the Ray Tolbert story, from poverty to provision.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what I'm working with right now. But that might change. But it's going to be probably the Ray Tolbert story. My years with Bobby Knight, that's a draw. I've already talked to Isaiah. He's given me permission to use our championship photo that we had. I could put it on the front page or the back page, but I'm going to have Isaiah and Landon Turner on this, because those two guys, and that three, we were more impactful as far as friendship and what we did. Kitchell, Whitman, Rizzo, all them other guys, they're cool. They're good people. But, you're looking at it from a different culture perspective. I didn't have a whole lot of money in college, man. I didn't have no money in college.
None of us.
These other guys had money. I didn't. I didn't have money. Landon didn't have no money.
Hey, that's how it was. That's how you learn how to become a financial planner. It was in college. You had to let that $10 stretch all week. You had
Come on, man. What's that trying to make $1 out of 15 cents?
Yeah, for real. Like, I became one of the best financial managers in it. Hey, man, I got to make this the $1,500 they gave us to last for 8 weeks. I got to make it.
Sir. Per diem back there wasn't no per diem, man. That was lunch money, man.
That was lunch money, man. Like, we was excited about getting the cabbage from Tim Garl, man.
Come on, man.
You know, man.
We'll be going on a long road trip.
Man, excited about that trip, man. 2-game road trips. We're gonna get about $40. That was like getting $200 back then, man.
Come on, man. Wash clothes and everything else with it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, definitely, man. But man, thank you for joining, man, on the podcast, man. Players only. Have fantastic stories. All of our stories are similar. That's why I love listening to them, because we say the same exact things, exact really process of getting to Indiana. Same things happened when we were at Indiana, and and then after we all trying to have an impact in our way when we graduated and when we went pro and all those type of things. So, man, this was one of the more fun ones, man, because I enjoy hearing the stories. I know you held back a little bit because you got to say something for the book. I understand.
I held back a lot.
You kind of hold back for the book, but I appreciate that. I'm gonna read the book. Can't wait till it come out, man. And we love you, man, and thank you for being a part.
Send you one, bro.
Being a leader.
Want to get one.
Thank you for being a leader in this Indiana basketball family, man. One of the top pillars of the Indiana basketball family. Ray Tolbert.
Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Keep doing your thing, man. Have a happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and peace and blessings to your family, bro, and everybody that's still alive that's with us, man. Enjoy them and love them, man. Appreciate them, and tell them to wear a mask, bro. Stay safe.
Same to you, man. Hey, I will.